This is one of those risks most people underestimate until it happens to them. In the next few minutes, you will see exactly how it works, what the public breach record actually shows, and the simple steps that keep you safe. Imagine your phone rings and it is your daughter or your boss or an old friend. The voice is right. The worry in it is right. And they need your help this very second. Here is the unsettling part. That voice may not be a person at all. With a few seconds of audio, scammers can now clone how someone sounds and use it to call you. Today we will unpack calmly how this works, and more importantly, the simple habits that keep it from working on you. You might assume cloning a voice takes hours of recordings. It does not. A short clip from a voicemail greeting, a social video, or even a quick answered call can be enough. Software studies the pattern of the voice, then generates new sentences the person never actually said. The result is not perfect, but on a rushed phone call through a small speaker, it does not need to be. Knowing how little material it takes is the first step to treating any urgent call with healthy caution. Almost every one of these scams runs on the same fuel: panic. There has been an accident, a lawyer is needed, bail must be paid, a payment has to go through before the office closes. The emotion is deliberate because a frightened brain does not stop to verify. It acts. Once you understand that the fear itself is the weapon, you can do the one thing the scammer cannot survive. You can slow down. Look at the broad trend rather than any single case. Reports of impersonation and voice-based scams have been climbing as the tools to fake a voice have become cheap and easy to use. Regulators and consumer groups keep flagging the same shape: a familiar voice, an emergency, and a demand for fast, untraceable payment. The exact figures matter less than the direction. This is no longer a rare, exotic trick. It is becoming an ordinary risk, which is exactly why ordinary habits are the answer. These scams tend to arrive in a handful of predictable costumes. The most common is the family emergency, where a cloned voice of a child or grandchild begs for help in secrecy. Close behind is the workplace version, where a voice that sounds like a manager or executive asks an employee to move money or buy gift cards quietly. Different masks, identical machinery. Recognizing the script in advance strips it of its power to surprise you. It is worth being kind to yourself here, because falling for this is not about being gullible. Our brains are wired to trust a familiar voice instantly. That shortcut usually serves us well. It lets us recognize the people we love without a second thought. Scammers simply hijack that instinct. The defense is not to become suspicious of everyone. It is to add one small pause between hearing the voice and acting on the demand. Once you see the pattern, you can spot it mid-call. It almost always opens with a jolt of alarm to grab your emotions. Then comes a plea for secrecy, so you will not call anyone who might reassure you. Next is the specific ask, always for money or codes, and always in a form that is hard to reverse. Finally, relentless pressure to do it now. 4 beats every time. If a call is marching through them, that is your signal to stop. You do not need to memorize a long list. 3 warning signs cover almost every case. First, extreme urgency that leaves no room to think. Second, a request for secrecy, telling you not to involve anyone else. Third, an unusual payment method. Gift cards, wire transfers, or apps that cannot be undone. Any one of these should raise an eyebrow. All 3 together mean you are almost certainly being scammed, no matter how real the voice sounds. Here is the single most powerful move, and it costs nothing. When an urgent call asks for money or codes, hang up and reach the real person another way. Call the number you already have saved. Text them. Contact them through a different app. If a voice claiming to be your bank pressures you, hang up and dial the number on your card. A real emergency survives a 2-minute callback. A scam does not, because the scammer cannot answer that trusted line. One of the best defenses is delightfully low-tech. Pick a simple word or question that only your close family knows, and agree that any genuine emergency call will include it. If a panicked voice cannot give the code word, that tells you everything. Choose something you would never post online and easy to remember under stress. It turns a terrifying, convincing call into a quick, calm test that a stranger simply cannot pass. The raw material for a voice clone is your own recorded audio, so it helps to be a little more mindful about it. Consider keeping personal videos private rather than public. Be cautious with unknown callers who try to get you talking, since even a short answer gives them a sample. You do not need to go silent or paranoid. Just remember that public audio of you is a resource, and a slightly smaller footprint gives scammers less to work with. Scams like these only pay off if money can move fast and vanish, so put a few speed bumps on that path in advance. Ask your bank about alerts for large or unusual transfers. Be especially wary of anyone steering you toward gift cards or instant transfers, which are the getaway cars of these schemes. When the fast, irreversible routes are the ones being pushed, that pressure itself is the tell that something is wrong. If you realize afterwards that you were tricked, please do not sit in shame. Speed matters more than blame. Contact your bank or card provider right away and tell them it was a scam. Some payments can still be stopped or recovered if you move fast. Report it to the relevant fraud authority in your country, which also helps warn others. And tell the person who was impersonated so they know their voice is being misused. The people most often targeted by these calls are older relatives, precisely because the family emergency script hits them hardest. So share what you have learned. Explain the callback rule and set up a code word together this week. Make it a normal, loving conversation rather than a lecture. Every person who knows to pause and verify becomes one more dead end for the scammer and one more safe voice on the other end of the line. A cloned voice can sound perfect, and that is genuinely unnerving. But look at what actually defeats it and notice how simple it all is. Slow down when a call demands urgency. Hang up and verify through a channel you already trust. Agree on a family code word. And treat any push towards secret, irreversible payments as a red flag. The technology is new, but the defense is old and human. Pause, check, and the illusion falls apart. That is how it works and how to stay ahead of it. The breach data is from Have I Been Pwned, all public. If this helped, share it with one person who reuses passwords and subscribe to Cyber Explainers to keep your digital life safe.